Let's start in the frozen tundra of Sunwood Farms as FSL goes back to where it all started to take on the Buffaloes. Stevie said he needed this one. Would his team play hard for the vocal owner? The short answer, not so much. The Buffaloes started shaky, then your favorite quarterback, son's favorite quarterback, Josh Allen, poured it on late versus Miami to put up 33, and I got a Thielen, continues his great season with 19. That proved to be too much for FSL. Even with 27 from Ty Freak, he couldn't crack the 100 mark. Buffaloes 124, FSL 97.
We head up to New York, the city so nice they named it twice. The other name is overpriced, rat-infested shithole. In a crucial matchup between Ty Man's All-Stars and Burnt Toast, this one was really decided by one man. Burnt Toast removed his pants, straddled Tyler's face, and left an A.J. Brown streak across his forehead. Even though not Jesus Christ Harris put up his standard 20-point game, it wouldn't be enough to avoid getting crucified by the Toast in biblical fashion. This is now a 4-game skid for the once undefeated Ty Man's All-Stars. And when it all falls down, oh, when it all falls down, it's certainly all fallen down for the Stars. Burnt Toast in a prison shanking, 112.99. Bumble!
Now to the rock fight of the week. The Fat Cat went up 95 and through the Holland Tunnel to square up against Luchinator. Robert Woods got some of Cooper Kupp's seconds with the Rams scoring 38 on Houston and puts up 20 points. Other than that, this outcome was more due to the poor performances by the Herbert to Williams connection. These guys have been going off all year, but lucky for the Luch, not today. Herbie and Mike combined for 12 points. Yep, 12 points. Fat Cat couldn't come back from that. Luchinator 93, Fat Cat 76. Huh? Some spread.
We head to the home of the Liberty Bell and Tasty Cakes to see the 6-1 Johns taking on the 4-3 Tony Horton. This one was over before Dances with the Stars ended on Thursday night as Horton's heroes came up smaller than Kyler Murray's jackstrap on Thursday Night Football. Horton folded like a cheap lawn chair, putting up just 68 points in a big spot, and now sees his losing streak extend to 3 games. The Johns with another dominant performance up and down the roster, but Michael Pittman Jr. Seau had Horton feeling early onset CTE with 2 scores in just the first quarter. The Johns have turned into a wagon, improving to 7-1, and many are reporting that inside the locker room, they are screaming, "We want the dub." Johns in a home invasion and triple homicide, 165-68. Some spread.
Let's go to the middle of the pack. This is when the fight for the playoff gets tight, and these two teams are fighting for that spot with really good teams. Teflon Don at the Toon Squad. Toon's front 4 put up numbies, combining for 90, but the rest of his team fell flat to allow the Don to come from behind. Stafford and Godwin went off for 53 combined, and Aaron Jones finally gets back into the 20s after having so many weeks in the teens he was making R. Kelly jealous. Pitts came back down to earth and had a clunker, but it didn't matter. Teflon rolls over Toon Squad, 127-116. Wop, wop, wop!
This is the matchup we've all been waiting for ever since Nigro publicly called out for Big Daddy AE to be relegated to a less competitive league by the Fire Pit on the Bachelor Party. Nigro doesn't think he can play with the big boys or is able to resist the charms of a certain commissioner at the trading table. This one reminded me of an AFC North battle where these two teams just simply don't like each other. It was also lacking any sort of offensive firepower whatsoever. Big Daddy AE certainly had some bulletin board material, and the 2 best players on his team were in fact Deebo Samuel and Chase Edmonds. This was a dish of poetic justice that was served ice cold to the hard hitters, who seem to have forgotten his championship ways. He's starting to remind me of Rex Ryan late in his career, minus the foot fetish. No real highlight performances on either side, but AE dug deep, stood up to the bully, and said, "Go back to picking on Tyler because I ain't the one to mess with." Big Daddy in a pillow fight, 97-82. They're not gonna do.
And now down to Baltimore, aka the home of Zeke's Coffee and Adnan Syed. The Cool Cats rolled into town to take on the 7-1 The the Doves. SB said his team was the best in the league. Would that be the kiss of death? Besides Eckler and Melvin, his team struggled. A-Rod showed his O face, and it stood for, oh no, only going for 14. But maybe this is the year, and the haters are proven wrong. Maybe this is the year the parade goes down by Camden Yards, because Slayton gets goose egg, and Derrick Henry goes down, giving the win to the Doves over the Cool Cats, 114-85. Back.
All right, welcome to Week 9, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host and Commissioner SB, with the best man and owner and director of player personnel for the 7-1, JB Jones. JB, how you doing today?
Feeling good, SB. Got a nice W last week. Team's looking good, feeling good. It's fun to be a fantasy owner right now. It can all go to shit very quickly, though, so I'm enjoying my time on top.
I like it. As someone who's not having a very fun fantasy football season, I can live vicariously through you and your team a little bit. Another tough week for me. I fall to 2-6. What can you even say at this point? I guess I'm trying to not eat the spicy chip at this point. I never thought with this team I'd be saying that, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Every week I feel like your favorite. Every week you think it's going to turn around, and never has, and you just have to chalk it up to that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna run out of weeks is the problem. My team is so good, I'm just gonna run out of weeks. All right, well, we had some pretty good matchups coming up this week. We had some very lopsided ones last week. There wasn't too many close calls, but there was some crazy shit that happened in the NFL over the past couple days. You have Rodgers missing at least one game. You have Derrick Henry out for the year. You have Henry Ruggs being the biggest moron on the planet and driving 160 miles an hour while shit-faced, and he's now basically out of the league. Saquon now has COVID. Like, this was a big news dump over the past couple days, and it's going to impact the rest of this season. Yeah,
I mean, Ruggs wasn't a huge I was going to play him this week, but obviously he's dealing with like a felony charge and DUI, so he will not be playing this week, and maybe for the rest of his life. But it was a weird one. And with Derrick Henry going down, I mean, I think Pender was kind of on that, kind of on the side of like, can he get into the playoffs? And Derrick Henry was going to carry him down. There. Now that he had his team.
He had one of those teams where with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, if he made it into the playoffs, he's not the guy you want to face. And now at 3-5 with Henry out, his season kind of just went up in smoke there.
Yeah.
But you know what they say? One man's trash is another man's treasure. So let's talk about Transaction Tracker. There was actually some interesting ads this week, given all the craziness and injuries and suspensions and COVID. Luch went hard on Adrian Peterson when Luch wins the Big Daddy Warbucks Award of Week 9. Mm-hmm. Lands him for $63. Next closest bid was Teflon at 40. And, comparing that to Jeremy McNichols, who was also a free agent, McNichols went for 49 to Horton with a bid of 30. I was kind of out of it. I'm broke, so I didn't even pretend to put in an offer. I know I wouldn't get them. Would you rather McNichols or would you rather AP rest of the season?
I mean, I would probably say McNichols. I think McNichols was a pretty good back. And I mean, I think AP just have more of a question mark. Just what is he going to be? He's an old dude. I would probably say McNichols for that reason. I don't know. I don't know if AP being that old, what he's going to really offer, but is he going to be more of a 3-down back for him, or I don't know, or 2-down back? Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like AP will probably vulture a couple touchdowns. He's going to be annoying, but I think I'd rather own McNichols rest of the season. So
yeah,
I would have paid more for McNichols. Surprising to see AP go for more than him. But again, it's Luch, so you got to throw the rules and logic out the window. He probably had AP on a team that he came in fourth place 9 years ago and just loved him ever since. So he went hard for AP and he got him.
Matt Forte.
Yeah, Matt Forte, Jamal Charles, all these guys.
Not too many big offers for McNichols. I mean, Horton won him at 49, but then beneath that was Toast at 30 and then goes all the way down to Big Daddy AE at 12, where you had a lot of big ones for AP. At Don at 40, Fat Cat at 25, Doves at 21. So it looks AP was getting a lot of love.
I would have bet my bottom dollar that McNichols went for more than AP. So I think Tony Horton got a bit of a steal here. I think $49 to have, worst case scenario, he's going to be a serviceable flex for the rest of the season on a good team that, maybe he catches more balls than Henry would have and scores a couple touchdowns. I think it's larceny from Horton for $49. So well played by him.
Right. I mean, McNichols was almost a viable buy play with Henry in. I mean, he had a 16-point game. He had 8, 6, 5, something where he was getting.
It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, he wasn't terrible. So you think he probably will get the go ahead unless they're really liking what they see out of AP. So yeah, I would say McNichols over Peterson, but they should both be solid.
All right. Anything else catch your eye on transactions?
Not really. I kind of feel like an idiot I'd kind of bid a little high on Galladay. I went with $14 on him. The net only one other offer. Horton just put $0, but I don't know.
At least someone else clicked on his name.
What's that?
At least someone else clicked on his name.
At least
someone at least put a $0 bid in. It could be worse.
He was decent before he went down with an injury, and they're so banged up, and Sterling Shepard has kind of fallen off. So hoping he can kind of catch some magic late in the year. And I don't really know if I have room for him if I don't have any more buys. But once some other guys are on buys, maybe he could play a big role. So 14 isn't too much. Other than that, it doesn't look like there's much.
Yeah, no, not too much. I think releasing Doves added Taysom Hill. Maybe he's going to start him with Aaron Rodgers out for at least this week, but Rodgers is not vaccinated, so it's a much more difficult trail to come back from if you do test positive. So there's a chance that he won't be activated until next Saturday, so like mid-November. So there's a real chance he misses the next 2 games. So Doves is going to need an emergency plan. It looks like he might be rolling with Taysom.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I haven't really been following Taysom much, but I guess he's I
think he's been hurt, or he was hurt last week. That's why it was Trevor Siemian as the backup.
Right. Oh, so yeah. I don't know much about Taysom, but you can rumble into the end zone here and there, and maybe get some decent points. This league is predominantly favors the good passer, which he is not, but who knows? Maybe he won't throw the ball too much and still get away with a good completion percentage.
I know the people in the league are going to ask, is McNichols, is he rated higher on the bell cow scale than AP at this moment for you?
I think he is. He's definitely not high on the bell cow scale, but he's higher than AP just because I think you have to give him the chance. He was kind of next in line after Henry, even though that's signing. I think at least for this week, McNichols is higher on the bell cow scale for sure.
All right, well, let's get into some matchup. Unless you have anything else, we'll hop right in.
No, I think that's good for transactions.
Hey, Jibs, I'm a double point favorite again. 132 to 117 over Horton. Like, how could I possibly lose, right? Isn't that crazy? It's crazy.
You would think. I mean, Yahoo, these guys are good. That's why
they know their stuff, man.
That's why they build the big buildings in Vegas. These guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a way that I could lose this game. It's impossible. Like, there's no chance I lose. I don't see it at all. You can tell I'm a little displeased with where I stand right now. This is the best, worst team I've ever had. I don't know what to do. I'm like a lost puppy in the park, just looking for shoulders to cry on. Someone needs to find my dog tag and send me home. I'm almost giving up. If I don't win the next 6 straight, it's over. So, like, I don't know. Talk me off the ledge.
Yeah, I mean, you've just been getting screwed. I'll say it. I mean, I say it every week. Team looks good. Hill, Diggs. I mean, I feel like Diggs has kind of been a little bit of a disappointment this season based on last year. He's still been pretty good, but other than 2 weeks ago before the bye, he had a good week. But other than that, it's been a lot of mid-teens and even under 10. So he hasn't been the breakout that I think you were hoping for. Tyreek's been really good. He still gets a ton of volume. So
yeah, I would say with Diggs, if you paid full freight for him, which would have been like $55 probably if he was like not kept, you'd probably be a little disappointed. And it's hard to say disappointed because he's been really consistent and they throw him the ball a lot, and like scoring 14 points or 15 points, 16, like that doesn't kill you by any stretch. That's totally fine,
right.
For a receiver. So I agree with you. It's been weird. Like I'm not upset with his production, but he's certainly not like helping me win games. He's just kind of like holding serve for me. And I think I was certainly hoping for a little bit more out of him, given, the Bills offense being one of the best in the league. And, I'm just going to say that I have more points than a 5-3 team. I have more points than every single 4-4 team. And I sit here at 2-6. So like, sometimes fantasy football just sucks, and it is what it is. And I'm going to put on my big boy pants and get on with the show.
Yeah.
We're professionals here. We don't complain. I look at Horton's team. He's going to be slotting in McNichols straight away against me at the Rams. That's probably a good spot for him as far as pass catching goes. Looks like Waller, I know he missed the game before the bye. It looks like he's practicing, so it looks like he's in there. I mean, with Horton, it comes down to Kyler and Hopkins at San Francisco. San Fran licked their wounds a little bit and got a win last week against the Bears, although the defense wasn't phenomenal. I don't know. I think that's probably just an average matchup for Kyler and Hopkins. But, again, I don't know. I'm probably going to lose like I do every week. So I'm going to take Horton.
Man, I was going to go against you there. I'm actually going to go with you this week. I believe in the Yahoo gods. I'll actually go against. I know you're probably doing a little reverse psychology, but Wentz at the Jets. I think that's a game. I don't think it's going to be so good that it's bad because the Colts are the Colts. So I think they're just going to put up a good numbers, and Wentz is going to have a good game, throw a bunch of completions, stuff like that. Hill and Diggs going against Jacksonville. That should be a big game. Dalvin against Baltimore. That's not a good matchup there. Eli Mitchell against Arizona. That's not a great matchup, but Sutton at Dallas. He's been kind of hit or miss. I don't know. I think your guys are going to hit this week and you're going to roll over Horton.
All right. I appreciate that. Let's move on to kind of two middling teams. Ty Man's All-Stars against the Luchinator. Ty Man's was 4-0 at one point, and he was doing it with smoke and mirrors, and mean reversion gods have really caught up to him. And he's just dropped his fourth straight. So he's in a serious skid against Luchinator, who, at 5-3 has a pretty formidable team. When you look at Dak, Jefferson, Kelsey, that's really good. James Robinson has been fine, even though he had a bad week last week. I think you still project him to be a pretty good player going forward. Tyler's flying the ointment here has been Patty Mahomes has looked broken. And I'm one of the biggest Chiefs fans on the planet, but watching that Monday night game, I don't know. He looks off. He looks like he's running out of the pocket way before he should. He's trying to make all these hero throws, and when it looks good, he looks great. When it looks bad, you're like, man, what are you doing? Just like stand in there and make a throw.
Right.
I don't get it. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I feel like I've watched a decent amount of Chiefs games this year. Obviously, I played the Bills, so I watched them there. And they're on a lot of primetime games. And I do agree, he just doesn't look very good. Like, he makes bad throws. Like, even against the Bills, there were a lot of plays where it's like, oh, man, Bills defense looks awesome. And then they show the replay, and it's like, no, he just missed that guy. Like, that he was wide open across the middle, and he missed him. And, yeah, I think showing as projections go, showing 30 points, it's like, last week 13, the week before that 5. He was decent before that, I guess. He put up some decent numbers. But, yeah, I don't know. I think this team looks really bad. The Giants are not a good team, and they look like the better team on Monday night. So
yeah, it felt like the Chiefs really escaped with that one.
Right.
And if that team was a little bit, the Giants were just a little bit better, and they're probably like below average in the league. If it was a league average team, I don't think the Chiefs walk out of there with a win. So I'm going to take Luch. I think Dak's back. He seems healthy. He's practicing all week. James Robinson against Buffalo, that's not a great matchup, but if you project it to be a blowout, which Vegas certainly does, maybe Robinson catches a bunch of passes. Kelsey versus Green Bay, that's fine. Jefferson of Baltimore, not great. I just think there's way more firepower on Luch's side. And until Mahomes can prove that he's back, I'm probably going to pick against Tyler, from here on out until that changes with Mahomes.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, T. Higgins has been pretty solid since he's come back. He's been putting up around like 10 to 15. Let's see. Freiermuth has been pretty solid these last few weeks, but I actually really like Luch's team, and Derek Gore on time end. So he had a good week last week, but I don't know. I think Luch actually has a really good team. So I think with Mahomes not being all there, I think he's going to be tough to beat. So I'm going Luch as well.
I think Luch needs to start Michael Carter Thursday night. Michael Carter's had a 32-point game for the Jets with, Mike White checked down to him a billion times, and Michael Carter looked awesome. He was a big reason the Jets won that game. So I think Luch may want to slot in Carter Thursday Night Football in his flex spot, either for Khalil Herbert or Darrell Williams for Kansas City.
Yeah, that's true. Darrell Williams has been hit or miss, and then Khalil Herbert kind of has as well. So yeah, I like that as well. I think this should get out before Thursday night finally this week. So if Luch watches it like he should, maybe he'll heed our warning.
All right, well, let's move on. We both agree there. I got the 7-1 Jibby Johns coming in as the slight underdog against the 3-5 Teflon Don, who's starting to get rolling a little bit. Not sure if it's going to be too late for him. I think, looking at these matchups, the thing that jumps out at me is you have a decision to make at quarterback. Where are you leaning there?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, Tua at Houston could be a good one. Cousins at Baltimore. Right now, I probably would roll Tua. People are just running over Houston right now. So, and Tua's been good these last few weeks. Barring he wasn't great last week, but that was at Buffalo. That's a tough game. No one really looked good in that game. It was pretty sloppy. Other than that, he's putting up numbers. So, yeah, I'm probably rolling Tua there. The only spot where I'm kind of struggling is obviously with I'm starting Gabe Davis right now. I'm going to see how the Galladay situation works out, and if he's healthy and he's a go, I'm going to throw him in for Gabe Davis. But yeah, right now I'm probably looking at Tua and Galladay in for Davis and Cousins, which would make me a little bit of the favorite again. But yeah, it sucks. I was rolling with Cousins all year, but I think it's time to switch it up.
Yeah, I think that's one of those. At Baltimore is one of those matchups that if you have a high-flying passing attack, they just know how to take air out of the ball, and they're good on defense, and they run really well. I would totally be with you on starting Tua against Houston at home. I think that's a logical move. You're missing Metcalf on bye. Latif is missing Godwin on bye. Metcalf and Godwin probably around the same kind of player right now with Russell Wilson out. When Wilson comes back, Metcalf's obviously the guy you'd rather have, but it's a pretty fair fight here. I like Latif's matchups for the most part. I think I'm going to pick against you here. I think you're going to slip up and miss this one. I think your really good matchup is Kamara at home against Atlanta. Henderson against Tennessee is good. But I like Aaron Jones, probably going to get a lot of work against Kansas City, and I like Matt Stafford versus Tennessee. So I'm going to pick against the favorite. I'm going to take Don in an upset to get to 4-5.
I'm going to go with me. I am a little worried this week, especially with that Stafford kind of cuck on Kupp and Henderson. Henderson got a touchdown last week, so unless Henderson can have a good game, obviously all my Cooper Kupp touchdowns are kind of going to get canceled out there, which hurts. But no, I like my team. I think Gesicki and Tua could both have big games. Excuse me. And then I think Pittman against the Jets, he should keep rolling. So I think this is going to be a tough one. I'm super nervous about this one, but I'm rolling with the hot hand. I think I'm going to, for some reason, everything kind of is going right for the Johns right now. So I'm going to roll with myself.
All right, let's move on to the Fat Cat versus the Buffaloes. Fat Cat is the only team worse than me. We're both tied at 2-6, but he has fewer points. So I'm officially rooting for Zach to eat the hot chip this year, which I do have another one of, if anyone was wondering. So that is still the penalty. Against the 5-3 Buffaloes, who I don't know how they're 5-3. I have more points than him at 2-6. He's just navigated the herd really well, and he's the lead Buffalo. And he's done all this without McCaffrey, and there's a chance McCaffrey comes back this week. So any team playing Kipper is going to be a much different proposition than it was in the first half of the year. You know, I look at Allen versus Jacksonville. That's terrifying. Fat Cat doesn't have a terrible team, though. His team's come around a little bit, and Herbert and Williams is really what the motor that keeps his team going. They have a good matchup at Philly, which should be, you know, Philly's defense has been pretty porous. So I think Herbert should have success and, you know, bounce back after a couple bad weeks in a row from him. 2 single-point games in a row for what was once the MVP of the league.
Right.
People forget that.
Who's that?
Herbert. After the first month of the season, everyone's like, oh, Herbert's the MVP. This Chargers team, oh, my God.
Right.
And now no one's talking about him because the Chargers going to Charger, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who do you like here?
I do like Kipper's team, especially if CMC comes back in some capacity. Looking at Ty Johnson, that was a good pickup for Kipper. Ty Johnson's been actually really good the last 3 weeks. It's for whatever reason, all these Jets running backs have been eating. So Ingram's a little bit of a you know, chink in the armor, but with CMC possibly back, I don't know. I think, like you said, Allen's a really good matchup. Goddard's been good. Deontay Johnson. Kipper's got a good team. He's going to be scary if he can get fully healthy coming back in the playoffs. He could be a tough seed there. I was going to say a low seed, but he could be a high seed as well. So yeah, I'm going with Kipper. I think he's the underdog, but I think if CMC does play, I think he's got the upper hand.
It looks very much like CMC is not going to play. So I'm going to take the Fat Cat knocking off the fraudulent 5-3 Buffaloes. You heard me, Kipper, fraudulent. Because I don't think McCaffrey's coming back till week 10. So I think Fat Cat gets one here and moves on to 3-6, trying to put me at the bottom of the league. Let's move on to Toon Squad of Big Daddy AE. Big Daddy AE getting an emotional victory. For those of you who missed last week's show, there was a heated debate at the fire pit on my bachelor party. Nigro questioned the manhood and the intelligence of Big Daddy AE. And as luck would have it, they faced off last week and AE took it down, which I think a lot of us were probably secretly a little happy about. How'd you feel about that outcome?
You know, anytime someone calls someone out for a bad trade or something like that, you always are rooting for, when you think the trade is legitimate, you're always rooting for the guy who got called out. It's BDAE's first year in the league, getting called out by a past champion. I think JN was feeling a little high on himself, and no, I was rooting for BDAE as well. I think it's a good underdog story, a good emotional win for him. So I'm glad that happened. He's got a solid team. I think with Edmonds and Debo have been great for him, meaning that was a solid trade for him. And Toon Squad's a great team as well, though. This is going to be a good matchup.
Toon Squad's got some big time bye week issues, though. He's missing Tyler Lockett, Antonio Gibson, and Tom Brady.
Yeah, I was just seeing that his projected points. I was like, well, that doesn't look very good. So he must have some bye issues, and of course he does.
Yeah, and it looks like Devontae Adams will be back in the lineup, but he does not have Aaron Rodgers for at least this week, maybe another week. COVID seems to be going around in Wisconsin. And it looks like AE may get George Kittle back off the IR. So I think all signs point to Big Daddy in this one. I think this is lining up to get him over 500 and getting him looking through the periscope up at the top teams in the league to try to limp his way into the playoffs somehow.
Yeah, I agree. I like his team. I mean, Debo's been as solid as ever. Edmonds has been doing pretty well. He seems like he's 10 to 15 every week, which is solid. Dalton Schultz, he had a rough week last week, but against Denver, especially Denver without Von Miller, I think that's going to be.
Well, that'll probably be Kittle. Kittle's going to play.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so yeah, let's see how Kittle's going to play. Who knows what he's going to do, but because he's been down for a while. But No, I like Big Daddy AE's team. I think he's got a solid. I feel like I've been saying this every week, where I feel like Big Daddy AE's just has a very, very high floor, where it's just like his players are going to put up 10, 15, all these guys, and he's going to score 100, 110, 115 points. And I just think Toon Scott with the buys doesn't have enough firepower to match him.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's talk some burnt toast at 3-5 versus Clifford's Cool Cats. Clifford's Cool Cats taking the biggest L of the week with the Derrick Henry news. Henry was on pace to break like every rushing record on the planet. It felt like the Titans were really, really pushing him hard, and clearly that's come back to bite them in the ass a little bit, as they're the number one team in the AFC right now, and with no big King Henry, it's going to be interesting to see how that offense adapts going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like in terms of running backs, I guess with Henry being out, Clifford can plug in Kenyon Drake, which I'm not sure about the Josh Jacobs news if he's still out, but with Josh Jacobs being out, Kenyon Drake's actually been a pretty viable running back. So Boston Scott, yeah, I just don't know. I mean, Toast is actually going to could quietly get to 4-5 here if he pushes out a win, but.
Yeah, Clifford, his lineup's not set yet, though. He's going to have Lamar Jackson in there, Mark Andrews in there. His team's going to look a lot better than it does right now. Mm-hmm. But I've been waiting for this matchup for one reason. And I want to give you your moment in the sun, JB. You caught a lot of shit for not bidding on Michael Thomas in the draft. You had an extra $1. You could have done it. And Pender got him. And everyone was like, Jibs, what are you doing, man? You have the money. And you have a blood vendetta against Michael Thomas. So I don't know if you saw today, he posted on his Instagram and Twitter that he will not be returning in the 2021 season. So go off, King, and take your moment, take your victory lap. And I want to hear your thoughts on Michael Thomas.
He's the worst. He's literally the worst personality guy in the league. I actually just looked at that because I saw he was on the PUP list. I was like, what are they saying about him? Because everyone was like, oh, he's coming back like week 6. He's going to be the best. And then I just saw that out for the 2021 season. Exactly what happened last year. He got injured. He's a punk. I mean, this guy, you can't rely on him. He's the worst in the league. I don't know if he'll ever play again. I kind of hope he doesn't, or at least he comes back and just stinks. Yeah, I mean, that's what you get for that extra $1. I'm glad I held on to it. I didn't, whore myself out to try to get a pick late in the year. I stuck to my values, held strong, and it paid off. He's the worst.
All right. I'm going to take burnt toast here. I think Cass is just reeling, even with, after he puts in Lamar, he has Antonio Brown on bye. He's going to get Andrews back in there and a good matchup at home against Minnesota. But I think Toast's team, I've ripped this team for a long time. It's starting to get a little bit better. Jalen Waddle has actually been, besides the Bills game, which I think you can kind of throw out, he still had 12 targets in that game. He's going to be a dink and dunk guy. And against Houston, I like him to go for 20. Jonathan Taylor, you could argue, is the best running back in fantasy right now. Is that crazy to say? Who would you rather have?
I don't know. Probably trying to think who else.
Like maybe Kamara or.
Yeah, Kamara's been okay.
Like you look at like Zeke, Aaron Jones, Dalvin, all these other first-round running backs, and Taylor's been like Najee's been really good too, but Taylor feels like he has way more upside than Najee on a weekly basis, and he's had a couple of these like 31-point games, 29-point games. Those seem like still a little out of reach for Najee. I don't know. I think if I could have any running back in the league from here on out, Jonathan Taylor would be high on the list for me. Not saying I'd take him over, McCaffrey or Dalvin or something, but
probably Eckler too. Eckler's maybe been the best other than
Eckler's been very good. That's a good call.
But we kind of forgot about him. But yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor probably top 3 now with Henry out of the picture.
Yeah, easily. So, and AJ Brown's playing great. He's I think retaken that alpha status from Julio, and he's kind of like a Julio fanboy. I feel like he played second fiddle to him early on, and now you're kind of seeing the AJ Brown we saw flashes of last year, and he's dominating. And with Derrick Henry out, the volume should just continue to go to him. So I like burnt toast in a big way. I think the Cool Cats are licking their wounds, and I think they're going to take a pounding this week.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the Cool Cats, with Henry being out, it's just not the same team. And even with Henry, he was a 3-5 team. So I think Toast is kind of catching some steam right now. And I'm not sure who he's going to put in right now. He has his tight end empty. I mean, I guess that doesn't really matter. I'm sure he'll throw someone on there, but no, I like his team this week. Like you said, I think Taylor and AJ Brown, you can make an argument that's one of the best 1-2 punches of running back wide receiver right now in the league. So Burrow's been a stud. I think with those three guys alone, he puts up enough and rolls by Clifford.
All right, let's go to our final matchup of the week. The 4-4 hard hitters coming off of an emotional roller coaster of a game in week 8 against Big Daddy AE, against the 7-1 releasing Doves. I thought that looking at this score, something was weird. It's not really that weird. Nigro just has a million guys on bye. Fournette, Swift, Evans, Gronk on bye. Calvin Ridley still away from the team for personal reasons. He's having some mental health stuff. We don't mental health shame on this show. So hopefully he gets his stuff together and gets back with the team. Saquon got COVID. This team, Nigro's falling apart at the seams here. And those Dogs just look like they're going to continue go marching on in a big way. Talk me into how this is even close of a matchup.
No, I wish I could, but he doesn't have a running back right now. I think he may have been on a few of the guys, but that went for McNichols and AP. But right now he doesn't have a running back to plug in for Barkley. Other than that, you have Tony Pollard. He's got number 2. Kadarius Toney doesn't do it, and Patrick. He's got a lot of number 2s out there. Mecole Hardman. Like, I feel like all of his guys right now are the 2 guys on their teams. So,
right. And in his defense, he does have a lot of bye weeks.
Right, he does have a lot of buys.
Dubs is catching him completely out here.
Right.
And I mean, this is. I don't think there's a whole lot more to talk about here.
Yeah, I think Doves caught him on a good week. It was Bye-Apocalypse a few other weeks. For some teams, I think this is the Bye-Apocalypse for JN. Good week for the Doves to catch him. I think, Doves rolls, and I just need to stay hot because he could overtake me because he looks like he got a pretty easy one this week.
Yeah. All right, let's do some lead pipe locks of the week. You want to kick us off? You want me to? You
can go because I haven't looked at any.
All right, this is almost too easy to take Doves. I think the Doves, we're not allowed to take the Doves this week. This is going to be a beatdown. I'm going to take Toast over Cats. That was one that, seems pretty straightforward to me. I love the Jonathan Taylor matchup against the Jets. I love the AJ Brown matchup against the Rams. They'll probably have to keep up. Joe Burrow at home versus Cleveland isn't great, but I like a lot of burnt toast matchups, and I think that the Cats just don't have enough. And then, going into some picks, like I do every week, I'm going to give you a dog and an under. I've been good on the dogs. I've been terrible on the unders. So if you want to make money, bet the dog and then take the over, whatever I tell you. I'm going to start with one that I think is a bit of a rock fight of a game. It's going to be Monday night. It's going to be the Bears getting 6.5 at the Steelers. I think the Steelers went into Cleveland and they won a scrappy little win against the Browns. I think the Bears are just kind of scrappy enough to possibly even beat the Steelers. And I just don't think the Steelers are very good. And I think the Bears will do just enough on the offensive side of the ball to take this into a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. I'll happily take 6.5 points. I think this line should be closer to 4. So I think there's a little bit of value on the Bears. As far as totals go, I think I'm going to take the under in Browns-Bengals. I think the Browns they drag teams down into the mud and they play good defense. I think 47 is a number I'm comfortable taking the under on. I know the Bengals have been pretty electric offensively, and they're at home. But I think the Browns will just do enough to run the ball and play some dirty, skanky football to make that like a 2017 game. I don't see that one being 31-28. So I'm going to take the under in Browns-Bengals.
I like that. All right. So for lead pipe lock, I'm going with Big Daddy AE over the Toon Squad. I like Big Daddy AE's team. I think he's rolling right now. I think he rolls to 5-4. So I think he rolls over the Toon Squad. And then for my bets, I'm going to take a home dog. I'm going to take the Giants +3 against Vegas. Vegas going through some stuff now with Ruggs. I think their mind's just not in the right spot. They got to come all the way across the country into New Jersey to play the Giants. Giants are playing good football right now. They're feeling themselves. They didn't quite get it with the Chiefs, which I think that kind of helped them. Is like, hey, we should have had that game. They're still hungry. They still want it. Home dogs, I think Giants take that one, maybe even sprinkle a little bit on the outright. And then I'm actually going to go over. I've been taking unders, but I'm going to take the over in the Texans-Dolphins game, which is going to be a shitty game to watch, especially for the over. But I think those two defenses just stink. I think Tua's actually going to have a decent game. I think Davis Mills should have will score on the Dolphins because the Dolphins' defense has looked horrible. So I think that's going to be an ugly game, but maybe something like a 27-20 or 31-20, something like that, and get that over for the Texans-Dolphins game.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. I hope everyone has a nice week 9. Hope everyone had a nice, happy Halloween. Can't believe we're already in November. Can't believe it's already week 9. Can't believe I'm getting married in 60 days. This year's flying by. Any final closing comments, JB? Thanks for joining me as always.
Not really. Good luck to every team. Hopefully all your boys stay healthy, and go Johns.
Suicide pick? I think bonus suicide pick. If you have the Colts left, I think you use the Colts on Thursday night. We do not. So right now we're between Cowboys and Bills in our suicide pool. And a big shout out to all the Jets fans listening, because you knocked out so many people in suicide last week with Mike White throwing for 400 yards and beating the Bengals outright as 10.5-point dogs. That was fantastic. And Mike White has a lot of fans in this room because he knocked out about half of our suicide pool.
Yeah, we love him. And Mike White's the truth. And I'm hoping a lot of people roll with the Colts, and he does it again on Thursday night. So I'm not sure. I think we may go with the Cowboys to hold on to the Bills, because it'll be nice to hold on to them, especially even if it's just for 1 week to take them against the Jets. But unless Mike White is the truth and he's going to upset the Bills at home.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. Take care, guys. Love you guys. Peace out.
Peace, boys.